Oh, baby, man. Hey, you know it's a good day. Superchats already flooding in.
Really?
Already got Superchats in the Toyota chat there. What do you know? It's a new day, Nuggets Nation. What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast. Let's go. Eric is into it today. Not really. Well, there you go. Almost. We are here in the Toyota Lounge, driven by your Front Range Toyota stores. Toyota, the official vehicle of DNVR. We're also presented by Bet365. Download the Bet365 app. Use the promo code DNVR365 when you sign up. Choose your offer and find out why, whatever the moment. It's never ordinary at Bet365. Just basking in the afterglow.
Bro, I love when that happens and we can do that.
Does this game hit harder because of how bad it was? You know, like we haven't had any endorphin rush for a month, and then we get a little one, and you're like, oh.
It's like we went off our meds and we're back on them.
We're back on them.
We finally got a new fresh diaper.
Sure. Yeah.
We're in
that's
a
different way of saying the same thing.
We had a very dirty one for some time.
Harrison, you got a crude metaphor for what this feels like? Yeah. Is it more like drugs, or is it more like a changed diaper?
I'd say drugs. Yeah. I'll go with the drug angle. Yeah.
So sick.
You were off them for a while. Now you're just right back on the train.
Oh, man. There you go. Lots to get to today. We're going to update the brightest timeline because why not? We're going to talk about the scenarios ahead for the teams.
Here we go,
Where can Denver land? All that and more. I got Brennan Vogt in the house.
It's a new day in Denver, Colorado. A bright and sunny, beautiful day in Denver, Colorado.
I know.
Did you guys notice that?
I did notice.
If I knew how to whistle, I would have whistled on my way to work today.
You can't whistle?
You don't know how to whistle?
I did walk to work, though. If
I
that's
taught myself
that.
how to whistle many years ago.
And most people do.
I
don't know if there's a
can't. I do it by
tutorial.
accident when I'm podcasting with my bottom teeth.
Just try to do that on then do that.
Yeah.
Man who knows how to whistle. D-line coach.
That's right. I've cultivated a very high-pitched, obnoxious, inconsistent whistle for myself.
Can we
hear
it? I like it.
all right.
Sounds like a normal whistle.
I'll bet Kale's a good whistler. Are you good? I was gonna say, of course he is.
That checks out. He twirls a cane while he does it and stuff.
Rounding out the show, Harrison Wind.
Oh, fellas, I woke up this morning. I was in a great mood.
I know,
Great
man.
day. Great vibes all around, man. It's great when you win.
What a treat, man. It really was a injection of optimism, a much needed injection. I mean, sports are all about having something to believe in, no matter how ridiculous. No matter how ridiculous. I remember 10 years ago, I irrationally believed in this second round pick that he might become some kind of good player. And it was a dumb, foolish thing to hope for.
Monte Morris.
And it came true. And it just shows you that sometimes the long shot gives you everything you need. And that's how I feel right now. Do I really... Nuggets, am I betting the house on them? No, but you know what? Not hard for me to squint.
You don't have to squint. You just have to merely look around.
Is that right?
You just need to get out of your dirty diaper, get a new fresh one, and then take a look around.
I don't love the diaper.
I don't either, but it does make sense. So let's go, Kale, right away to the hangover takes, shall we? Hangover takes. I didn't get a lot of time to digest this one. I'm not gonna lie. The Malone firing put me 2 days behind my other job here at ALLCITY. So, but I do feel like I've digested it a bit. But I'll throw it to you first, Vogt. What are you feeling as you're hungover?
Well, I thought the biggest difference was just execution and energy. Really, I think it's really easy first game to be like, wow, look at all these differences. There were some important differences. I think we covered them last night, namely splitting up Pickett and Westbrook, being a little quicker to go back to Pickett. To me, those were the biggest differences. I didn't think it was like a fundamental change to the rotation or the scheme.
Yeah.
I mean, like, it's the same guy running the offense, and you play through Jokic. I know he didn't score 60 points last night. They did still play through Jokic. Defensively, Jokic played defense, was up, kind of followed through on the scheme and had the energy for it. That goes a long way. So I think more than anything, more than like I think some new coach coming in and saying, here's how we're going to do it. I think it was the fellas receiving the message that Josh Kroenke delivered.
Yeah. Did you see anything did you watch the post game? There was all those interviews we have up on the DNVR.com. Is there anything that stood out to you from those, Wind?
From the post game, did you see Nikola Jokic's expression when Katie asked him about Pickett?
He gave the big eyes like, oh, yes. I love that you're running with this because I don't know if it's true or not, but I do appreciate you making it true.
Yeah, I'm really doing it for you.
Thank you, buddy.
I feel like
I noticed.
Joker and Pickett are,
Best friends,
two
maybe?
of the same. They're cut from the same cloth. Not really, but in a basketball sense. They couldn't be cut from more different cloths, to be totally
different
honest. From the post game, I mean, yeah, the guys talked about Michael Malone getting fired, how shocking it was, and just dealing with all that. But honestly, it sounds like it's kind of just business as usual. It really does feel like to me the team. I don't want to say has moved past it because that kind of sounds mean. And obviously, it was a big deal. He was the coach for 10 years. But the NBA, that's just kind of how it is sometimes. And I do want to talk about like David Adelman because that's probably my biggest hangover take. But from the players, they just kind of went on like it's business as usual. They played a game. They played well. They won. And the season just kind of moving along. So the sense I got from listening to all the post-game interviews last night was just like, yeah, that was shocking. They dealt with it, and now they're just on and trying to save the season.
I was extremely jazzed last night. Too jazzed to sleep, as many of you, I assume, were. I went to bed at a very ungodly hour.
We were all up late last night, I think.
I feel as though I was run over by a train, but a very happy train, like Thomas the Tank Engine. A train you're happy to see.
A little smile on the face.
I was like, hey.
He's kind of a sad sack because he makes a lot of mistakes.
Well, I've not
Like
watched
running
I've not
Eric
watched
over.
the show.
Yeah,
I've not
yeah.
watched the show.
Kind of a
But
loser
I was
of the train.
mainlining
Not
as
watched
much content as possible, and I was so proud of us and our channel that we were just pumping stuff out. It was so beautiful. Like I was like getting my fix from us, from inside. I was getting high on my own supply.
What's DNVR putting out tonight?
You too. High on my own supply. It was beautiful.
yeah.
So I watched all of those too, and I actually felt like the players were not only was it business as usual, but I felt like they were saying like, yeah, this is like it's changed. Like we kind of see, like it feels different. Like people seemingly are feeling like much more accountable, and they're all wanting to move forward. And it didn't help me fall asleep. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God.
I know.
It's crazy because we talk obviously every day about the Denver Nuggets, and this season, even more than last season, has been an unbelievable slog. And you don't really recognize it at the time. When you're in the middle of it, you're just kind of surviving. You get good moments. You get, and a lot of this season, I felt like to this point has been like just waiting for it all to come together. And it just like fleeting moments, and you see little glimpses, and it feels right. It feels wrong. But I don't know, like there was something that felt like it was clicking in the locker room last night with the way everybody was talking, with the professionalism that was being displayed, with the maturity that was being displayed. Like nobody was upset other than obviously they were upset because they've all formed really meaningful relationship with Michael Malone. He's helped them in all of their careers. And so there was an obvious sadness there, but I was really happy to see that the Nuggets, and the way we've been talking about it all season, is like now is the time for, like, they've gotten past the growth stage, the excitement phase, the newness, and now we're on to the professional stage for the Denver Nuggets. And I saw that in the locker room, and I'll never sleep again.
There you go, man.
Except for during your ad reads.
I think one thing I took, one thing that really stood out to me, and I think is clear if you were looking for it, was that the Nuggets did not present themselves as a team that felt burdened by this, or that felt like the season was over, or anything like that. Like, you fire a coach, is there a sadness? Is there this or that? And I'm, again, not trying to say they didn't like Malone or this or that. I just think the team had this, like, nothing, that was a strategic move the team made, and here we are. We have a new direction, and we're going off of it. There wasn't a heaviness to it. And you can read into that, oh, they were sick of the guy or whatever. I don't care. There just wasn't a heaviness to the moment in the locker room.
It was like a weight was lifted almost.
In some ways it probably was, or just like, hey, we have clarity of a direction we now can at least rally behind. And I think where this manifested itself most on the game, or in the game, was in Jokic's just presence.
Yes.
And we mentioned this briefly on the show last night, but I kind of want to hit it because it's my biggest hangover take. Malone, for as great as he was, I think he takes a lot of the oxygen in a room as a leader. And it's just, he does it by his nature. It's not even something, I think he's scale that back. He's like, this is who I am, man. Like, I walk into a room and I'm the voice of the room and I'm this or that. And I think in a weird way, Adelman's quiet and understated. Everybody was like, he's direct and to the point. He's like, he'll be short with you, but you'll get what he's saying. And I'm like, yeah, he's the opposite of Malone. He is just, here's the strategy. You guys go out and execute it. And the fact that that opened up space for Jokic to speak more and to do this more and to be on the court. And it's, again, nobody's fault. But I do think it's a weird, when you say they've graduated or they moved on, that's what it feels like. They've graduated from the things that Malone brought to the team. And some of it, he strengthened the muscles they needed for his removal. But now that he's gone, the space is being filled by others in a way that, at least in one night, was very interesting to watch.
The best quote from Adelman was to them saying, you guys don't always need us. Right, which is this point you're saying, but I think they did need Michael Malone for 10 years.
They
a bunch of
absolutely
kids,
did.
right? That didn't like, and I even still think great stuff from Jokic last night. Like, there's still, I think, historically been a leadership void in that locker room. Honestly, I think they needed Malone. I think they needed a guy to built to instill some of those habits, to hold their feet to the fire for a long time. So now maybe once you've made a change, maybe just going really far in the other direction of, I'm going to leave a lot of space for you guys to take up now. And again, like, the message wasn't that different, right? He said something about hoping that they communicate with each other better. Something Malone said all year long. Yeah. But a new voice and one that's not interested in being necessarily the loudest voice in the room. Like, I think Adelman's approach is probably going to be, let's let Jokic do this. Let's let Jokic lead. Smart choice. Maybe just a breath of fresh air and just a different approach from what they grew used to.
Yeah. I have the sense, and I didn't hear if you said it or not, but like that they just sort of outgrew Michael Malone. Like and that doesn't mean that Michael Malone is somehow too small for them, or like that he has limits that needed to be gone beyond, but he brought this team to a point where, you know, like, he got them to leave the nest. And unfortunately for him, that meant that he was forcibly ejected from the nest. But like the Denver Nuggets, his legacy will live on in the relationship that these players have and the way that they sort of think about themselves. And again, the pride that they brought, the concept of the Denver Nuggets and the team and the city, all this stuff, like, those are lasting impressions, indelible marks that he left behind. But now, exactly, like, now it's clear because Jokic is so principled and he thinks about the game in such a way that there are barriers that must not be crossed. There's the coach, there's the GM, everyone has their job, and it's not his job to cross those lines because it's incorrect. It's not the right way to go about things. Now that the coach, the vocal leader, is gone, yes, he just naturally assumed that. Like, he just moved right into it. The goldfish, like, he just grew right into the leadership. And David Adelman, I mean, we've been talking about it. Like, I'm very, very interested to see how this works out. Like, I'm very interested with the idea that there's a smart tactician that is drawing up plays and, you know, thinking about the game specifically in that sense, and allows Nikola Jokic to be the guy that's screaming at everybody and not yelling at them to yell at them, but just like organizing everybody, like Braveheart, like Genghis Khan, or whoever you want.
Let's go.
The Ottoman Empire, whatever.
There we go.
Bring it all together. But you saw it manifest immediately. It's not something it's like, gosh, I wonder how this happened. It's like, holy smokes, wow, there it is. That makes immediate sense. Just one day.
Yeah.
It's a really interesting dynamic. You know, Adelman as the coach and
strategist,
X's and O's strategy, and Yoke as the actual vocal leader, and taking the spot that Malone vacated in that area. It's an interesting dynamic. I'm also very intrigued to see how it pans out.
I think my other hangover take, which is a little bit of a downer one, is that they defended with passion. They did not necessarily defend effectively. They had a 123.4 defensive rating. It's not like they shut down the Sacramento Kings, who are about the league's average team. They're like right there in the middle. And I think there's reason to be encouraged about that. I mean, hey, that's better than losing to them, right? That's better than the alternative. But I do think you have to almost take it with a grain of salt of, hey, the question we have right now is how quickly can you turn this around? Not flip a switch or whatever. How quickly can Denver get to where they need to go? And the answer might be not all the way. They can't do that in 3 games or whatever. Yesterday was an emotional move in the right direction, but it wasn't necessarily an execution move in the right direction in ways that are going to be meaningful for them eventually. So, unfortunately, one little downer take, I guess.
I thought the difference to me was they played defense in the first half,
Yeah,
which then
you're
allowed
right.
them to just sort of follow their game plan to victory, as opposed to like, oh man, we're down 10. Jokic, can you score 45? By the way, I'm not going to play any defense. You know, like
Right.
it was a now they didn't play.
They got
much
there
defense.
a different way that was important.
I think to me that it was the sort of setting a tone in the first 12 minutes that allowed them to follow through in the other 3 quarters that they just haven't always done this year. And the numbers are very overwhelming. Adelman or Malone, when they do that in the first quarter, they give themselves a great chance at victory. So I was glad that they did that.
All right, we got a lot more to get to. On the other side, we're going to start getting into the Russell Westbrook or Jalen Pickett discussion.
Oh, man.
Our answers might surprise you. Stay
Whoa,
tuned.
probably not.
Oh, I'll go first. Yeah. Do you know what? I really was thinking I was second. That's on me. How about Lucy? Shout out Lucy. 100% pure nicotine, always tobacco free. Lucy breakers are nicotine pouches with an extra surprise. Each pouch holds a capsule that can be broken open to release extra flavor and hydration. Set yourself up with a subscription and have Lucy delivered straight to your door. Lucy has different strengths. So I set this. You know those old ads about find your sleep number on that mattress?
I have one of those.
Find your Lucy number. You know what I
Oh.
mean? Find the nicotine routine that works for you. Go to lucy.com, lucy.co, I should say, /DNVR. That's lucy.co/DNVR. Use promo code DNVR to get 20% off your first order. Lucy has a 30-day refund policy if you change your mind. Again, that's lucy.co. Use code DNVR to get 20% off. And here comes the fine print. Lucy products are only for adults of legal age, and every order is age verified. Warning, this product contains nicotine, and nicotine is an addictive chemical.
You know
Drugs-
what's also
drugs.
an addictive chemical? The Nuggets. They're very addictive.
I know.
I'm
man.
addicted.
And, yeah, I know. And sometimes it's good, though. Sometimes it's a good kind of drug. You know what I mean? Like those fun ones.
Yeah, those fun ones that are never
Earmuffs
bad.
Like milk.
Just like your favorite team needs a home court advantage, your home needs a home floor advantage. So check out Empire today. They can help you get it $350 off. That's what you can get from Empire today. You can get a $350 discount with the code DNVR. Schedule a free in-home estimate today because some things are just better at home. DNVR listeners can get a $350 discount when using the promo code DNVR. Empire today, they are the best for new floors out there. That's all they do, just floors. So they know everything about floors, how to pick them out, installation. They will keep you involved in the whole process too. They'll keep you looped in so you know exactly what is going on. They're flooring experts. They also bring the showroom right to your home. Pick the right flooring and the right colors for your space. See how it looks with your furniture in your house. Get precise measurements taken. Have all your questions answered so there are no surprises. With Empire today, you get clear up front and all-inclusive pricing. Plus, you can schedule installation as soon as the next day. So get that free in-home estimate and $350 off when you use the promo code DNVR. $350 discount with the code DNVR. Restrictions apply. Visit Empire today /DNVR for details.
And plus, when they install your floor, there's a flavor capsule they'll put in it. When you step on it in just the right way,
No, that's
burst of
Lucy.
flavor.
That's Lucy.
Oh, yeah, you mixed them up.
confused The two.
Yeah.
Well, he has more taste buds than everybody else.
That's
does.
true, actually. I don't know.
Taster, yeah.
Bit of a super taster,
Yeah,
guys.
if you haven't heard,
Is this a hickory
super
floor?
taster. You know.
Interesting. Back here, segment 2 of the DNVR Nuggets podcast. I actually am going to take a detour here because we got a guy crashing out in the chat, but it's crashing out in an interesting way. It's our guy Bosco Banovich, who I think has been in the chat quite a bit. You know, he's an OG, but he's crashing out because, as he puts it, the team first asked Jokic to carry him on the court, and now they're asking him to be the coach too. And I was thinking about this a lot lately. I told you guys I really love Shogun, right? The TV
Great
show
show,
Shogun.
yeah.
So good. And one of the core themes of it is this clash of cultures that couldn't be more different. You have a pirate from the West, and if you think about Western culture, it's so much about individualism. Like, you become free. If you think about how you grow up in the West, your parents are your authority figure till about 18, And then you're your authority
and then they
figure.
get fired.
And then they get
No
fired.
parents, no rules.
And you are then, at that point, have no one who has that over you, where there are some cultures, especially historically, that the elders of the clan, until they die, are the leaders of the tribe. So like the grandpa or great-grandpa could have the authority over everybody south of it. In my experience with talking to people with Serbia, obviously researching it, it's not like that. It's not like feudal Japan, but it is a little bit more of this traditional sense of where do the authority figures come from. It's a little more hierarchical that goes throughout society. And so for basketball purposes, the top of the food chain is the coach.
Yep.
In the United States, that's not the case. And that's a hard concept for people who are not from here, even people who are here, to really understand how unique that is. And because leadership on an NBA team in modern America, a charismatic, talented person with a little tenure, that's like the checklist. Like, okay, that's our leader. And I think in other cultures, it's like, no, that's earned through the idea of, do you contribute to the team in this way? It doesn't have to mean you're the best player, the most charismatic or whatever, but you contribute. I think Jokic is caught in between these two things. If you think about how he grew up, for the first 5 years of his career in the NBA, we kept saying he should shoot more. And he was like, why? Best players don't shoot more. They do all this. And he's evolved, I think, to kind of mesh the two philosophies together to understand he needs to. I think the leadership portion of this is somewhat similar. I think Jokic believes the coach is the leader of a team.
Definitely.
And I think that he is both right and not right, because in this culture, which he is thrown into, the player can be as important or more important in the leadership standpoint as a coach. And I just think that conflict between Jokic is one that happens on the cellular level of him. It's not something that like we were trying to, you can only see it through one lens, but to him, I think that conflict is a lot more difficult to navigate.
He looked so comfortable last night in that role, too.
For sure.
And we've seen him look comfortable in the past when he's grabbed the whiteboard, drawn up plays, talking with the coaches, like coaching on the floor, too. I think it's a role he likes because, look, he's the best player in the world. He's also the smartest player in the world. He's also like smarter than your coach probably. So he's thinking all these things, and I bet it's frustrating for him when the coach isn't saying what he's thinking, or the coach is saying like a different strategy than he's thinking. And then if that happens and he doesn't say anything, you got to go out onto the court and you execute a different strategy, than he's thinking of. So I bet it's frustrating for him when he keeps it inside, actually.
Yes.
So I think he likes expressing that. And to do that, though, you do need a dynamic where, like him and Malone, I don't think him expressing it as much as he did last night works. Because Michael Malone had a very specific way of coaching and strategy and what he wanted to do out on the court. And I don't think there was room for both him and Jokic to be vocal about it. Now there is room. And just the fact that he looked like he enjoyed it so much, that's what makes me feel good about him being in this role going forward.
Yeah, he wasn't asked to do that is the thing. It's like they weren't like, Jokic, I'm sorry, we don't have a coach. You're the coach. That's just it. It was just like there was just freedom. There was like you're saying, it's Coach Malone's control over and strangely enough, like that follows the pattern that you're talking about. Like Coach Malone was where the buck stopped. That is oftentimes how a basketball team is structured. It makes a lot of sense, but they have grown beyond that. And it wasn't like David Adelman was like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. Please, I need you to drop a play. Like, you have to be the coach. It's just like Jokic is seeing stuff. He's saying stuff. He's like, let's do. I mean, if you can't feel encouraged by that, how do you not feel encouraged by the smartest guy on earth telling people what they should be doing and then to follow behind?
I also think some of it was him deferring to Malone, like not just like Malone doesn't let me do this. Like, I think it's what Adam was talking about, like growing out of he is the coach, I listen to him, and then I do this stuff.
He said as much. Like, he said things like, I'm not, that's a question for the coach.
And then I think when the owner comes down and goes, this isn't working, the coach is fired, by the way.
Right.
And and I think they all respect David Adelman, but he is an interim coach, right? Like, I think there's just an obvious vacuum that he felt like it's more appropriate for him to lead right now. And I think there's a difference between Jokic coaching and Jokic leading.
Yeah.
I think David Adelman coached last
correct.
I think
course.
Jokic led
Jokic is
last
setting up the rotation.
And
Right.
I'm glad that he did, man. And I actually think it's okay to ask Jokic to be a leader, I know they asked the world of him in Denver. Heavy is the head that wears the crown. You know, I have as much respect for Jokic as any athlete I've ever watched, let alone cover. Yeah. But I think it's okay to ask Jokic to lead, and I'm really, really glad that he stepped up and did it last night.
Yeah, and again, he said as much, and I always go back to that Jelko Obradovic interview from a year ago where he was talking about how Jokic called him and how he's like, back in the day, I'd never wanted a player to give me any advice about my strategy, and he's like, but things evolve, and a player like Jokic, you'd be foolish not to hear it. But then he says, but I still think at the end of the day, the coach is the one who makes decisions, and I'd be curious if Jokic agrees. I think Jokic would agree.
He does agree,
100%. But there is a space between those two things, and that's the area we're talking about where there can be cultural differences, experience differences, personality differences, and that's why Jokic, for as great as he is, there are certain things he's still learning, muscles in his brain that he's still learning to exercise. And to me, it is this thing that he did last night. And I hope we look back on it and we're like, you know where Jokic became the full player, the one that led and did everything? It was at that moment that he filled really cool. a vacated space and grew in some important way, but not too far. The same way he shouldn't shoot the ball too much. Then we get to another interesting question here, which is, you guys will be shocked for me to say this. I love Jalen Pickett.
Oh,
and I
no,
thought he had a great game last night, but it should be filtered through the lens of he played with Nikola Jokic.
Of course.
And when we ask about who is going to be the point guard in the playoffs, I still think Pickett needs to find out, and I hope Murray comes back in time for us to see. But Pickett playing with Jokic, the trick is don't turn the ball over and get the ball to Jokic. If Jokic's not on the court, the task is different. And I think it's just one thing to kind of keep in mind of, like, as great as he played, as tough as Russ was, he passed an assignment that probably will not be his in the playoffs.
Right. Then again, Jokic is just on the floor for more minutes in the playoffs too.
That's true.
You have less of those. But I mean, what it comes down to for me in this Pickett versus Russ conversation, especially in the playoffs, is who's going to give you the steadier play. Because the Nuggets don't need Russell Westbrook to save them in the playoffs. He might, but he also might lose them a game. You know, Jalen Pickett, I don't think he's going to win them a game, but I don't think he's going to lose them a game either. I would take the steadier option 10 times out of 10 probably. And, I mean, without Jokic, I think Pickett's better in that role too. He's going to set up the offense. He's going to look to get others involved. He doesn't have the individual, scoring and rim pressure that Westbrook does, but I do want to see it too. Like, I really hope maybe we see Pickett in that role if Jamal Murray does come back tomorrow, and just to see how it looks. But I would just take the steadier option with or without Jokic.
Multiple guys shouted him out in the postgame, by the way. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Little things.
Pick.
Yeah, Pick. But just like, hey, well, we're happy for Pick, man. It was cool to see Pick get his moment.
Yeah.
Pick also hit 5 of 7 threes, too. So, but the supplementary stuff is awesome. Yeah. He also just balled out, man. He balled out.
And the one thing that I feel like is going to be really important moving forward is just the style of play changes dramatically once the playoffs start. And Russell Westbrook has been really effective pushing the pace and getting out on the break fast, and getting points in transition. And that's, generally speaking, not available nearly as much in the playoffs. And Jalen Pickett is a half-court player.
Yeah.
And that is that is the foundation of playoff basketball. So I'm actually very encouraged by the fact that he's sort of hitting his stride right now. And again, he, like Vogt says, like, the man can shoot it. He can shoot it, and that's important. He's a sneaky floor spacer if you use him correctly.
He's also gotten a lot better pretty quickly this year.
Yeah,
just with more minutes.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I think the other thing that was interesting was Adelman kind of talked about him. He's like, he's just an old school point guard. And when he came into the league, he's always been effective at his slow style. Mm-hmm. But when he came into the league, he had a little trouble with that. But he's kind of learned how to bring the ball up the court. He's like, guys could steal the ball. And he was saying, now you watch him and it looks like he can't dribble. But guys can't steal it from him, so it works. And I'm like, that's 100% accurate. It does. Every time he brings it up, I'm like, oh, God, no. But it doesn't ever get stolen.
I love the little guy, because Facu did this too, up to the head dribble. That's my favorite.
He does dribble so high.
Let's all mimic him.
It does look like it'd be the easiest to steal from him when he's bringing it up, but nobody ever does. He spins
I don't mean
moment.
to go here because this is talking about old stuff, but isn't it crazy that Jalen Pickett is the player that Michael Malone and Calvin Booth had the biggest disagreement about?
Yeah.
When Jalen Pickett is a type of player Michael Malone should love.
I don't know, though, to be honest with you, man. I'm telling you, Mo's a New York guy.
Jalen Pickett is from New York.
Well, he's from Rochester. That's a little different. That's upstate New York. That is culturally different.
I will say, though, Point Harrison, technically speaking.
But here's my point. A New York point guard is like Stephon Marbury.
He's a young
a guy
point
that has
guard.
tough sauciness.
He's a young point guard. Okay, there you go, Cal, who plays like a veteran.
Yeah.
There you go, Malone.
By the way, that was the pitch when Cal got him, and he said it in his pressers. He was like, I gave Malone some young guys. So I got him an old point guard. Even though it's a rookie, I gave him an old guy who was already ready to play.
Doesn't make mistakes, doesn't turn it over.
Yeah.
Plays the right way.
It does feel like that was a moment that wiser pair of people might have been able to bridge the gap there. But
yeah, sorry, I don't mean to bring up old stuff.
No, I
bringing
mean,
up
the
old
funny
stuff.
thing is they got there. Like, by the end of it, I think Malone really did like Pickett.
You're right.
But
Well,
it took too long.
You're right. He did actually get there at the very end.
At the very end.
All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we got to talk a little bit more brightest timeline and what we expect going forward. Pickett is Andre Miller. That's a good comp, in my opinion. That's his comp.
That's a great comp.
How about Game Time?
Stanley
The
in the
hottest
office dribble.
ticketing app.
Pickett's out here draining 5 of 7 threes while dribbling like Stanley.
Game Time gets you the best seats for the best price, even at the last second, to the best events. I've always said it's like a dating app. In fact, they've asked me to stop saying this.
I know, dude.
They said it's not like a dating app at all. I'll explain what I mean. There are a bunch of people who have decided they don't want to go to the game last second. They're trying to connect with you, the folks who do want to go to the game at the last second. Here's where it's not like a dating app
if
at all.
you're attracted sexually to ticket brokers,
Right.
it is like a dating app.
Right. But here's the thing. You don't have to go together. You don't have to go on a date. They just give you the tickets and you get it for a great price. They have the Game Time Picks filter, and that's what it sounds like. It filters out the fluff so you can feel confident with all the shop and compare mania in your head when you're buying tickets online. Feel confident that with Game Time Picks, you're getting the best seats for the best price, even at the last second. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, use code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it, fellas?
It's game time.
That's right, Eric. So right.
Also got to talk about Denver's best roofers. You know who it is?
It's Red Hawk Roofing time.
Red Hawk Roofing. Red Hawk Roofing. These guys are big time now. You know, they started on our show.
Come on, man.
They got so popular. Now you see them all over the Nuggets broadcast, but they're still the same company. They're still the same guys. They're our guys. They're your guys. They're the pros. Make checking your roof part of your spring cleaning routine. Catch any issues or repairs before they get out of hand. There's no project too small for our guys at Red Hawk Roofing. They'll go the extra mile for everything from minor repairs to full roof replacements on your home or business. Adam just had a roofing issue. Called up Red Hawk Roofing.
Still do.
Oh, still do.
Yeah,
but they're on it. They're on it though.
Yeah, it's not their fault. Waiting on the solar panel company.
Oh man, I mean, of course
Dragging
you
their
would be
feet.
waiting on Red Hawk. Yeah.
They were over the night of, man. I called them at like 7 o'clock. They were there at like 8:15.
No,
Well,
we've
not
already
surprised.
checked it out.
They were like,
They actually fly over.
You called them up and they're like, dude, we're already on our way. We're 5 minutes out.
Dude,
We're
the
on
roof,
your roof.
The roof was all slippery and everything. They got right up on there. I was kind of like, are you guys sure, man?
You're
Looks
like-
They're
real
like,
dangerous.
We've fixed the roof in the rain.
This is what we do, buddy.
you're like, do you know what you're doing? You're like, we're the pros.
Are you sure? RedHawkRoofing.com 720-771-8921.
Somebody said Red Hawk Roofing is the dating app of roofing.
That one is actually traditionally, in the way you're thinking about it, yes.
They'll come to your house.
Dude, if you call them and you tell them like what you look like, they'll, you know.
Be over there in an hour. All right. Well, you guys, I don't know if you've seen the rumors online these days.
Which ones?
Unsubstantiated or
Kim
substantiated.
Kardashian?
Doesn't matter. Can we throw them all in a pile and just
dude.
pretend it all
Let's go.
belongs?
Oh, yeah,
and
we
pull
don't
it out?
care, dude. What do we care? We're on the internet also.
But you know, the Nuggets, man. Let's just actually, I'm not even going to get to the Tim Conley part of this. That'll be like beyond. Let's start more granularly here about the coming days. I think the Nuggets are going 2-0 to finish out the season. I think last night was their toughest game remaining. Memphis plays against Minnesota tonight, then flies to Denver and plays them tomorrow. That's tough. I think Denver's better in a vacuum. Denver has higher vibes at the moment. I think Denver wins that one, and then the Rockets will punt on their last game. I think Denver gets that one too. So first off, brightest timeline begins with a 2-0 finish to the year. Do you agree?
Yeah. I do. I think they can do this. I think they will do this.
4 seed, because I don't think they're going to catch the Lakers.
I think
Yeah,
they will
I
be-
was gonna say, does that mean they're the 4?
I think
Yeah.
they're the 4 seed because the Lakers would have to lose twice, right?
Yeah, and it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So that sets up a potential Nuggets Clippers first round matchup.
By the way, very scary for me. The Clippers are the hottest team in the NBA right now. They're dominant on both ends of the floor, but
Kawhi looks fresh.
they only have to drop 1 for that not to be the case. I mean,
But I'm just saying that's also factoring in a Memphis loss.
Memphis will lose because they play us.
Yeah, so Memphis is gonna
They're going to be in the
play-in.
play-in. I think they'll be in the play-in. So if Denver goes 2-0, what you have to hope for is the last game of the year is Golden State versus the Clippers, and Denver will likely play whoever wins that game.
Ooh.
And it's in Golden State.
So those guys could also determine who wants to play Denver.
Yeah, that could be the case too. If Denver loses, by the way, all bets are off. You could fall all the way to the 8 seed, whatever.
Yeah.
But assuming, because do you agree with me? Denver should win these next 2 games.
They should. Yes.
So that means I think Clippers and Warriors are almost the most likely option. There's a chance the Timberwolves find a way into that, but I think it's going to be one of those 2.
Yeah, I would be shocked if they don't win these last 2. But, stranger things have happened, like, for example, the entire rest of the season.
Right. Yeah.
The Denver Nuggets, I don't know, man. Like, you guys have observed me over the past 2 weeks. I've been pretty down.
Yeah.
Been pretty down. But,
You've
like,
been in Colfax mode.
I've been in Colfax mode, and, like,
You've gone Colfax mode. Now
but, like,
you're out of it.
But listen, I approach sports in a very visceral manner. Like, when I see something, I feel it. And I saw it. I saw what I needed to see. Like, the Denver Nuggets looked like the Denver Nuggets. And not only did they look like the Denver Nuggets, they looked like the Denver Nuggets with a very confident and very vocal Nikola Jokic, which is something that we have not really ever seen. I saw very clearly the vision of how this can work with how Adelman goes about his business, how Nikola Jokic goes about his business, and how everybody else fell in line and played, if not with joy, at least with intention and with intensity, which I loved to see. I mean, we say that the defense wasn't great last night statistically, but like the eye test early on told me like these guys are trying. Like, like Aaron Gordon getting cooked by Zach LaVine. Like, what do you, that's a really fast guy. That's like not a great necessarily.
That step back 3 is crazy.
That's crazy. Like that's not a great matchup for him. But that, to me, just overall, I saw a re-engagement of the Denver Nuggets to the overall goal, and that's all I need to see. Like I've said this 8 million times. Like, they still have their championship core. They have the most difficult thing to assemble in the NBA, a strong core that you can build around. And it's a core built upon the foundation of Nikola Jokic. How can this go wrong? How can this go this wrong? I just don't see it. So, yes, they should win these next 2. And give me the Warriors, man.
I think you almost have to hope for the Warriors. Look, we all want Memphis. I just think because Denver plays Memphis, there's almost I don't know if there's a scenario.
You don't want the Clippers at all?
I don't want the Clippers. To me, the Clippers here's why. They have somebody who can guard Jokic and Zubats. Nobody can shut Jokic down, but I would rather not play against him. And they have guys who can guard Jamal. A lot of them. They actually have just same amount as Minnesota in terms of physical, long, athletic guys. I think, and we don't know how healthy he is. So they have the guys that can make Denver's 2 guys their life difficult. And while I think Denver could actually guard them okay relative to most teams, they're set up for that style. It's not super pick and roll heavy, although Harden can go there. I just think Denver's offense would struggle. I think both Jokic and Murray would likely be below average in that series for their standards.
I agree. I would rather the Nuggets play the Warriors. It's funny, like that last Warriors game was so representative of where this Oregon team was. It almost feels kind of like more of a part of that story than the matchup in which the Nuggets had won 9 games in a row prior to that.
Yeah.
And that, as we know, is on the other side of a series that went Golden State's way, but the second half of it felt so different than the first, right? I think they can match up with Golden State. I think they can beat Golden State. I think the Clippers are more of a wild card.
They're a wild card, yeah.
That's it. It's just that they could be awesome.
For the last 20 games, they're the number 1 offense, or number 1 defense, number 2 offense. That's a big sample. That's a quarter of the season.
They're really well coached too, and hasn't been talked about as much lately because there's been a fundamental unseriousness to like their top level play and stuff. Yeah. But Ty Lue's a really good coach. And by the way, they've had a really good defensive season. And like considering how much Kawhi's missed and what they're working with, like that's some impressive coaching, man. So I think they know how to get a lot out of the roster. I don't think the Clippers are going to win the title, but as far as first round matchups for Denver, they're more of a wild card in a way that makes me uncomfortable than Golden State.
Here's what I think about the Nuggets. They only have 2 more games, so it'll be 3 from the firing, this resetting of the season. 3 games to get ready for the playoffs. That's not enough. They will be the worst version of themselves, in my opinion, in the first round. They will be better in the second, and should they advance, better in the third. And then if they make it to the finals, I think that's enough time for them to be their best self. But can they get there? And so if you can get to me a Warriors, I think that is probably your best bet. Memphis, I just don't see it happening. But if they can get that, I think it's the best bet. Is it possible for them to win it this year?
The championship?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it's possible. You have Nikola Jokic. Anything's possible. Did you see the quote from Aaron Gordon last night?
I love
He
that
wants
quote.
to coach with Jokic?
Oh, that one.
No, the
That
other
was a
one though,
great quote.
about the core.
Aaron Gordon said, quote, let me find it.
Yeah, that's a good one.
What-
He said,
We
quote, let
have
me
the
find it.
makings of a championship team. I've always thought with Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, and Michael Porter Jr. on the floor, and then he went on to list everybody else on the rotation.
But he meant those 4.
You have a chance to win a championship. That's from
those
Mr.
3?
Nugget himself.
I can't believe he listens to the show and to me specifically. D-Line.
But I love the way he framed it about, like, we have the makings of a...
Yeah.
It's like, we have the makings of a cake. You know, and it's like, well,
Yes.
how long does it take to cook?
We
It's
have
an
the
hour. Well, we've only got
ingredients.
45 minutes, so...
Sprinkles over here.
We have the ingredients. We're not going to be a championship team in the first round. You know,
Right.
that's only 20 minutes in the oven.
Just-
maybe
yeah.
not even in the second round. That's only 40 minutes. But maybe by the conference finals, and then in the finals, surely we can be a championship team. Yes, I believe it. Is it likely? No. It's going to be an uphill battle. They will have to play great basketball. Like, they will have to play way above where they've played for most of the season to even have a shot to get there. But I think they do have a shot. And I think last night was a great first step in the right direction.
Absolutely. Yes. There is reason to believe. It is not foolish. It is not skyline blue colored glasses to say that the Nuggets are still a championship caliber team. They won it not even 2 full years, not 2 full seasons ago. Not that much has changed. I just keep saying this over and over. It's just they need to get their guys together and they need to get everybody rowing in the same direction. Last night certainly looked like a boat rowing in the same direction. It's to me, it's like very, very exciting. Like I haven't felt like it was possible for a while now. I had just sort of resigned myself to the idea that, okay, we're going to go as far as we can and we'll see what Malone and Calvin Booth can cook up in the offseason. Maybe we can get KD. Who knows? And like now I saw last night, I'm like, oh my God, we have everything we need. We just need to put it in for what's that? 80 minutes in the oven? Is that what you said for a cake?
Yeah, 21st round, 42nd round, 60.
I think-
80.
I think that's
hour 20.
I think that's too long for a cake. I'm no baker.
I'm
but
not a baker either.
all the same. I see it. It's possible.
What about you?
120 minutes on low heat.
Oh, like an easy bake oven. Got it.
Yeah,
Like,
I mean, I felt all season, even prior to the firing, that like there are holes in the roster Booth built. This group should be way better than they were for most of the year. They just should. Like, I love that Aaron Gordon said that. We haven't heard those quotes in a long time, really, this year. We haven't heard a lot of that stuff. But it's true.
I know, we
Like, they
haven't.
did win a championship together with those 4 guys. Those 4 guys actually were doing #actually about the Denver Nuggets. I think they're actually still good together. I think they're really good. But so I'm really curious to see how they respond to this. I mean, I felt all year like this is a team that can win. I think Jokic can win with this roster. I wouldn't have picked them to win before the firing. I'm not going to pick them to win after the firing. Can they win? Yes, they absolutely can win. They have Jokic on the team. They have a championship core. They have a championship core that didn't just get there by accident. They're very, very good. Jokic gave the most illuminating quote of the season. It's actually not chemistry. we've done this together. We know how to do this together. Everyone has to buy in and do it.
Yep.
So I don't think that's an overnight switch, but I don't think it's an 82 game switch either, that they need to learn how to play together. They know how to do this. Everyone just has to get on board. So to me, that's the possibility.
Yep.
Somebody in chat says Sam Amick is reporting Murray is back. Have you guys seen that?
Yeah, there was a line in, I think it was an Athletic
On the
article
Athletic,
that said Jamal
He's
Murray.
expected Friday.
That'd be
might
great.
coming back tomorrow.
Because I honestly think they need it. I mean, this Jalen Pickett, Russell Westbrook is one of the questions you have. And for me, it's
saying there's a chance.
they're saying there's a chance, man.
Am I crazy for not wanting to see Murray until game 1 of the playoffs?
Yes.
Really? Why?
One, if you can win these next 2 games, you have a week off for him to rehab. I don't know that it's going to make a meaningful difference, him coming out and playing based on this injury. And then 2, the Nuggets, like, were the oven example here. Like, it has to cook. Murray does too. Like, Murray has to get back
Needs
in
a
rhythm.
full 80 minutes, dude.
This team played differently last game than they have. Meaningfully. Not dramatically, but meaningfully.
I would kind of want to keep that vibe going for 2 more games.
But don't you need Jamal to have that vibe too?
Yeah.
I mean, part of me wonders what's Jamal look like in this ecosystem. Does he mess it up? Sometimes he over dribbles, overshoots, looks for this. I think you kind of need him to get a little bit of footing under him as well. I agree the Nuggets can win it this year. I'm not counting on it. I'm betting against it. But you know what? It's enough for me to believe. And that's all you need in sports is I feel like I'm watching Drake in the March Madness tournament. You know, I'm like, they're pretty good.
Like in the rap battle against Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, no, that would be
Maybe not quite Drake. We got to go higher than Drake. Sorry, Kale. I was trying to throw you a bone.
Yeah.
Who am I watching right now?
Colorado
You know, like,
State
I'm like watching
University,
like a good
the
like
Rams.
5 seed. You know, I'm like watching a 5 seed in the tournament. And you're like,
Maryland.
you know what?
You did
It's gotta
pick
be
a tough
tough.
year for this example.
I
but
know,
yeah,
dude.
I do know what you're
Real
saying.
blue blood.
Yeah.
You're like, you know, they had a tough schedule this year, and they were close in a lot of games. They could have easily been a 2 seed.
We need Jamal Murray to come back for that reason. Like, the team has to play together. They got to learn who they are under this new dynamic, particularly for Jamal Murray, who, you know, it's been reported many times was sort of sheltered by Michael Malone and was favored by Michael Malone. Maybe was not coached as hard as other players.
A 5 seed. I love that Kale is stewing, and he had to hop in the chat because he's like, you know what?
Oh, Drake
a
beat
5 seed.
Drake
Yeah, I'll
beat
show
a
you a
5
seed.
Not a 5. They beat a 5 seed. Congratulations. Anyway, point being, like, we have to see how this works. And yes, we need to see how the new dynamic plays out. And I really think it's going to be beautiful. Like, if you imagine last night's game and you just simply took out Julian Strawther and put in Jamal Murray, like that, they would have killed them.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, but we got to figure out like how that works with if Jalen Pickett is that guy. So there's a lot of questions to be answered. And they do need a little bit of time to figure it out. 80 minutes minimum.
Then lastly, if we go beyond that, there was a rumor, I should say. A report is doing work. It's a rumor, you know, that maybe the Nuggets might be interested in Tim Conley. This is something we have long like hoped for, just us here. Is it the right move? I mean,
I'm really the only one.
Can we get the jersey swap going?
And like, here's my thing about it. I know he's close with Jokic. And that's an important thing, man. Yoke, I think, has a lot of loyalty. I see all the people always like, Yoke's going to ask out, just watch. I'll take the bet. I'll take the bet that he doesn't.
Dude, you guys don't even know Jokic.
I don't know Jokic, but I'll take the bet. You're saying you would if things got hard for you.
Yeah, but that's why
but
you're not
that's
Jokic.
Not why you're not Jokic.
You're weak.
Jokic is
Have
Jokic.
some not, brother.
Yeah, have some not.
Yeah, ever heard of it?
You're weak. You're weak and you run. Don't ascribe that to Nikola Jokic.
Yeah.
But I do think that having organizational alignment, it's like, it's funny. You always want the thing you're lacking. And so maybe you have Tim and you're like, oh, what we need is this or we need this. And then you just go and you're like, actually, all we needed was everybody to be rowing in the same direction. And I think Tim would bring that. He has knowledge of the team. And it is a piece, the same way like Malone won one. It takes the sting off a little bit that Malone got to have the parade. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, we at least, no matter what happens going forward, Malone was part of the ultimate summit. But Tim wasn't, and it kind of sucks. And I do think it'd be awesome for him to come back to create organizational alignment. He knows the team. He has a relationship with Yoke. And get him out of Minnesota, man. I'm sick of losing to them.
Can I cook here in irrational corner?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. If Tim Connolly returns, the brightest timeline is re-intact. All of the things that we all bought in early on this team, there's a poetic reconnection. It could be such a beautiful reconnection. And then you start the clock on the Luka to Denver rumors immediately. Tim Connolly is the kind of GM that can make something like that happen.
What?
If not Luka,
He is?
then it's Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Giannis.
Tim Connolly is not only a wheeler, he is also a dealer.
Is he?
He could make something like this happen. I am so in on this. I have not only coming off of my just mainlining Nuggets content last night, being jazzed out of my brain, waking up bleary-eyed but with a smile on my face for this first time in my adult life, thinking that all of my dreams could be coming true again, and then and just sitting there like, oh man, what if we could convince Tim Connolly to come back? And then seeing it in written form as a tweet, I was
As a tweet from a random person.
that's all I need, man. That's all I need. I just saw it. I'm like, oh no, we have been pious. The basketball gods may reward us for our piety. We have never stepped outside the lines, except for when we called ourselves the Smuggets. Wasn't our fault. We didn't know what we were doing. We just won the one time. But we've learned our lessons. We don't call ourselves that anymore.
Not yet.
I don't know. I saw that and I got irrationally excited, and I'm not going to stop until it's officially not real.
Can I say one thing? Whenever we mention Tim, people in the chat go, "Oh, the guy that extended Barton." I'm sorry, did that ruin your flexibility? Let me check my notes here. What did you do with Will Barton? Were you able to trade him for a player?
I will say, I think loyalty is one of his problems, but I also think he's probably grown from that.
But in extending Will Barton, it did handcuff them to that. All they could do was trade him for KCP, which helped them with the title.
Calvin gave Pickett a the least smallest contract he could have, and people thought it ruined everything.
I think Tim
happened.
is obviously... you are the vibes master of DNVR. Tim is the vibes master of the NBA.
This is why I have a kismet with him.
This is why.
Spiritual connection.
Exactly. Like, if you need to reset the vibes, and the Nuggets will need to after this season, most likely, he is the guy to do it. I do think there is a bit of revisionist history about some of the personnel moves he did make when he was here.
He made phenomenal ones, and he had some misses.
Every GM in the league.
Every GM.
And the role players that he had in Denver, I don't think were championship quality role players. And so I think there's still some questions about, does he know what it takes to fill out a championship team? Yeah. And there would be some big moves that you have to make with this roster. So, but from a vibes perspective, bring it on.
And more importantly, I've been thinking about this. The reason I don't think it'll happen is because of the side door and the schism that happened between the Cronkies and Tim Connolly. And I'm going to say this. People are going to hate. Anytime you ever if I defend Calvin Booth, if I defend the Cronkies, people are always like, what? No, they're 100% evil and there's no nuance to this. The Cronkies love basketball. They probably love it too much for ownership because you kind of like your owners to just get out of the way. And I think they are more invested in the Nuggets than they are probably in the Avs. This is my own personal opinion because they are basketball people. They are basketball people. And Stan's a hoops fanatic. He loves basketball.
He loves it, man.
Stan is a hoop stan.
Loves looking over those
But
box
they
scores.
are also, in my opinion, or Stan at least, is kind of your classic billionaire in that he can't take an L. Classic. And that and I think that part of what happened with Tim was, for him to retain Tim would have meant him taking an L. Somebody got a raise on him, basically, and this or that. And I think to me, if they were to get Tim and deem him the guy to get, to me, it would actually show some growth from the Cronkies in a meaningful way. Because it would be the most un-Cronky thing for them to be like, that guy that we had a really ugly public feud with 3 years ago, water under the fridge.
But I love the idea that them growing is to want to injure Alex Rodriguez's. They're like, oh, we've grown a lot. We've realized that we need to take out everyone around us.
Hey, Tim, do you want to slip out the side door or do you want to come back to Denver?
Do you want to walk out the front door and tell Alex Rodriguez to get stuffed?
You feel like you had something to say about this, the Cronkies thing.
No,
you don't like anything positive about them, though.
That's not.
But do you feel like
I haven't said anything.
But I'm asking your opinion about it. To me, I don't think they will do this for that reason. Forget what's right.
This feels unlikely.
But if they did it, it might hint at something.
It would show some growth. Yes, absolutely.
Tremendous growth.
Absolutely. I mean, look, there would be an ego part of it too, right? Like Josh would kind of have to come back, not just with a check, but maybe a my bad there, buddy. You know, and these are all reasons why I think this probably is more of a fun segment than it is likely to happen. Also because good luck outbidding Alex Rodriguez and Mark Lowry fresh off getting an NBA team.
Hey,
Like,
they
that
did just
energy
have to
is
spend a
gonna
lot of
be-
money getting this NBA team.
That
I don't
energy
think
is
Tim,
gonna be-
I don't think Tim would
please.
care.
And
I'll be
here's the
honest.
other thing. Here's the other thing.
I don't know, but
Yes, Tim might command a decent amount of money,
That's what I'm saying.
but you could save a lot of
Also-
it by having David Adelman as your coach. Probably.
Also, like Shaq said, like
just saying.
Alex Rodriguez is rich, but the guy that wrote his checks
that's right. Yeah,
is wealthy,
Yeah.
and the Cronkies are wealthy.
yeah.
I'm talking.
They're not going to get in a bidding war.
I'm
though.
talking more like new owner syndrome. Like you're with Mark Lowry on a yacht, you're a couple marks in, and it's like, yo, we need to keep Tim. Like, what do we got? And I think it gets away from you.
Yeah.
The only
We've
problem
got
is that
this yacht.
ownership group might be more of they're renting the yacht group.
That's true.
They own the
And then,
yacht.
and then there's Josh on his yacht. He's
Yeah.
like, yeah, actually, we've decided.
But I honestly I really did get the sense last time around when the way that Josh Kroenke was talking about how the deal went down, that he had feelings, like he kind of despised the way that these new owners went about their business. It was improper. It was not. And
it was the most old money thing ever. To be
I
honest.
think that it would bring him joy to bring ruin to the way that they went about it, to punish them and to show them, like, listen, you think you're a part of this? Like, you're not in the same universe as me. I will outbid you, no problem. Like,
We're just gonna also buy the Timberwolves. That's what we're gonna do.
I know, and then contract them.
I do hope, though. I mean,
The Minnesota Sonics, get ready.
I think Adelman it's maybe a different Like I think Adelman deserves a fair shot and is a very smart basketball mind. So that's maybe its own thing. But I am hopeful one way or another, and I think it will be, by the way, that this is an external hire with a very thorough search, and that like often Denver kind of is their own little club that operates over here, and then there's like the same people that get hired by the same 25 NBA teams. Like they may have to be willing to go into that pool and willing to open up the wallet and willing to negotiate with other teams in this way. They have successfully done this internal hire thing. They lost Masai. They were right to promote Tim. They lost him. They thought they could do it with Calvin Booth. It didn't work out. So I just hope that there's, Tim named himself acting president of basketball operations. There is no acting general manager.
Josh.
Thank you very much, Josh. Thank you, Josh Kroenke. Like, it seems like this is going to be an external hire, and I hope that they're willing to open up the wallet and just be competitive in that offer.
Yeah.
I've heard people say that they believe Josh to be a very, very smart guy and a very good leader, which is interesting to me because he's a billionaire son. But
Can I say this about Adelman though?
Yeah.
Let's find out.
I was so impressed with Adelman last night.
yeah,
I mean, and it shouldn't have been surprising that he looked ready for the moment, because this might also seem like a crazy take. I wonder if nepotism is actually good in NBA coaching. It's actually a good thing.
I love this take.
Because
it's just so good.
you grow up around the game.
Yep.
You're in the gym always.
Yeah.
These hirings and firings that might seem crazy to the outside world, that's just another day in the NBA.
Oh, he's been through 20 of those.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude.
His
It's a business.
dad has been through that. Like, he has been through this process so many times. So when Malone gets fired and we're like, oh my God, what just happened? Yeah, you probably feel that for a second when you're Adelman, but immediately it's like, all right, what's this next meeting I got to run about? Like,
Right.
all right, got to go to this next film session.
Yeah.
So I was really impressed with just his poise and how he carried himself. And he looked so comfortable throughout that whole game. Pre-game, post-game, press conferences as well. I am really a fan of the way that he communicates and he, relays thoughts. And obviously, there's a lot of respect for him in the locker room. The main guys on this team really respect just like his ball knowledge. So I could actually see myself, if this end of season does finish well, if they make maybe a little run and Adelman really shows off more of, what he's got, I could see myself becoming like an Adelman guy and thinking he could do the job.
You could become an Adelman.
Yeah,
He's the number one Adelman.
We are the Adelmen.
I was just really impressed with him last night.
Yeah, nepotism is a problem when you are hired by your father.
Yeah.
No one else is look. He's not a nepo baby in that his father gave him a job and like allowed him in. Like, he just happens to be the son of a coach. Like, that's not a bad thing. It is good. Like, in every other industry ever, for the most part, it's not a weird thing to have like a family trade, a family business. Like,
And it's also not like he's some scrub coach. He's interviewed for other head coaching
Right.
jobs already.
yeah, I
gonna
mean,
get
like,
a job
there's a
someday.
difference between like you just hire the kid that like he doesn't know what he's doing. He didn't go to college. You're like, I need you to run this team. Like, that's different than David Adelman, who just grew up around the game and it absorbed into his every fiber and being. And then he set out on his own. And he wasn't hired because of his name, I assume.
Yeah.
But
yeah. We're going to read Super Chats on Overtime. If you're watching on the Fast Channel, hop on over to the internet.
Go to the internet.
Go to the internet right now,
Go to the internet and watch us.
where it's about to get crazy.
There it is.
Overtime.
Do we even have Super Chats today? Are the people feeling it?
Also known as After Dark, although it's bright out.
I'm going to take my shirt off now.
ah, yeah, overtime,
Spread out a little.
nipple time.
Now we can say what we really think.
The
Chris
Nuggets are the
Peters,
best.
$10. Of course, analysts today showing how alarming it is that Jokic was drawing up a play during a timeout. As if we haven't seen it before. Side note, loved the continuity and ball movement last night.
Why were people were talking about that like it was a bad thing? That's insane to me.
What
It's
were-
insane. You have
Maybe-
the smartest basketball
see
mind
any of that.
on.
Maybe like Lakers
Yeah.
fans were.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
That
Oh,
was-
totally. Then they were like, "Oh, LeBron." But
I know. I like my coach to host a podcast before he can draw up a play.
10 euros from
Let's see
Johnny
Yoke do
Key.
that.
Hey guys, going to be tough for us to win the West this year with our bench. Who do each of you think will win the West if not the Nuggets? Also, is there a chance Luka could leave the Lakers next year?
There's a chance,
Tim.
but
Tim,
not,
make it
not
happen.
that. I don't think that
I kind of
big of a chance.
I would love to pick anyone but the Thunder, but I'm
Yeah,
just gonna.
I'll take OKC.
I'm gonna pick the Thunder.
I'm gonna take the Lakers.
Oh God!
What?
Jesus!
You really still buying the Lakers this much?
I'm gonna take the Denver Nuggets.
Hell
There
yeah!
you go. Hell yeah.
Didn't follow instructions, but great for vibes.
There's not like that. That's if not them, there's no other answer.
Dylan Cantor being a
He tries to
true
answer the question.
being a true vocal leader might be the challenge Jokic needs to ascend even more.
I agree. I honestly agree with this, man. Like, life is really about self-discovery. Like you're always learning how more to be yourself. Yeah. And this is a part of Yoke that's like, it could be unlocked at what would make him greater, in my opinion.
Dude, it's the most obvious thing that, to me, anybody that sees that as I can't fathom how this could be framed in any negative light.
You know what really ruined Yoke's career? When he became a better leader.
when he started to express his big brain thoughts to others,
Yeah, it was a real nightmare.
really fell apart.
Jake Kerr, did anyone see yesterday's pre-game group prayer huddle? New for the team? ? Jokic then kissed Russ and Strother's heads.
I did not
Sweet.
see that.
What
If
an
somebody
amazing
has
yeah.
this, send it to me because
Yeah.
I would actually like to see this.
If not, well done making this up in a super chat. It's really
We're gonna
crafted.
we actually were talking about doing that on the show.
We did it early, but we didn't. It's for our own semi-non-denominational religion, which is we just all say the word Jokic over and over, then kiss each other on the mouth.
I'm a little
Don't
more
know if
orthodox.
that's new, but I do know that
Orthodox Jokic.
Russ and Porter, obviously, and Kyle Speller are all very religious, and they do a lot of prayer stuff before and after games. So, Mr. Exquisite Nugget, come on, vote Adam, Eric, Wind, give Z playoff minutes.
I'll give it to him.
All
I'll
right,
give
dude,
it
hey
to
man,
him.
if it's up to us, it's
Yeah,
done.
if it is, I'll do it.
Big Namek, what position would you play him?
In the NBA?
Yeah. No,
What?
Zeke Naji.
Oh, would he?
When
I
you
would play
give
him
him
power
the play-
forward. I'd play him power forward.
Yeah. I would make him a center just for shits and
Just
gigs.
to F, right.
Big Namek, if Adelman's Murr is Nikola, the impractical Joker.
You made a reference to this. So something happened, like one of the guys did something.
Two of them. Yeah.
Two of them did
I'm not
something?
like super locked in,
Yeah,
but
I
I
was
know
going to
that.
say, it's like I have a vague.
But I think two of them got
like-
canceled
like
pretty
an
bad.
underage girl or
Yeah,
something?
yeah, it
I
wasn't
don't
good.
know.
I think it was a well-earned cancellation.
These are one of the ones where the internet has ruined it because I don't need to know this story. So I kind of like having a vague
I don't really
sense,
need
you
to
know?
I know.
Yeah, that's
I
fine.
prefer
I'm like, I don't know.
my.
Chat, fill us in if
No,
you care.
don't fill
Oh,
it in.
don't
I
fill
don't
us
wanna
in.
know.
No,
Don't
we
wanna
don't
know.
want to know
I
the
prefer,
story.
I prefer my famous pedophiles to be glossed over like the old days.
Like the old
Like
days,
old Rock
man.
Hudson. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let's just pretend it's not a problem.
Everybody, vibes are back, man.
Bro,
Despite
they're
what
so
D-Line
back.
just said, vibes are back. This was a fun show to do. It's fun to hang out with you guys again. We'll see you guys tomorrow.
I'll be the wind behind
Take
you
overnight.
in your sails if you need it.
We all silly like the mayor.